Uh, So we were just talking the short that Duke is in that I directed. Red Dress is coming out tomorrow, 8 a.m. He totally knocked it out of the park. So did I. It's an incredible film, and I'm stoked for everyone to see.
I'm so excited just because your enthusiasm and it's only taken 3 months.
And what is a long time, bro?
It has been a long rendition. What is the occasion? Is it part of 31 Days of Halloween?
Part of 31 days. We finally got the color in. We were kind of sitting on it, to be honest.
There was other things, yeah, in between.
Yeah, but dude, it's like I've made so much shit to this point that it's like when I have something and all the elements come together and I'm looking at it and it's really good, like you can tell it's like a cut above the stuff we usually do. So you're gonna love it, bro. It's good shit.
I'm honored, man. I mean, it felt like there's a lot of cool moments and stuff when we were doing it, and everything was there. You kind of, when you film something, you just know that there's like a energy that's gonna capture on camera. I mean, they say play to camera, or they say like, oh, the camera loves you. I never really knew what any of that BS meant. And I don't think it's anything to worry about, but you do know if you're having fun
Yeah.
and telling the story and getting into it and feeling creative, it's a beautiful process.
Dude, one of the best moments is that last shot where it goes from Donald, the actor playing opposite you, to you. It's a close up on your face. You're looking to the right, then you stare straight in frame, and then you clink your glass. It's fucking dope, bro. It's so good.
Did I have that little rhythmic swagger to it as well, or a little shimmy?
Bro, you had that shimmy. You had that American Psycho thing going on, bro. It's good.
It lends itself to all of that. American Psycho, my thing was Clockwork Orange that I was thinking of.
Clockwork Orange, yeah.
For me, dude, especially with something that's kind of like symbolic like that, or there's like beats and it's very like visual. It always helps to have kind of like an idea in my mind of what I'm inspired by. I heard of, like, I'm not comparing myself to him, but Nicolas Cage, he talked about when he was doing movies, he would always for a part kind of take inspiration from, even for him, like paintings and stuff in order to inform what the vibe he was going to channel into that story was. You know, you already have it on the page, it's already written, but to really like flesh it out and make the most of it, I think it helps to have a visual in mind that you can kind of
totally
tap into and try to channel.
Totally. And it was a character you usually don't play. You're usually playing like the kind of, silly, like, kind of, that kind of stuff. More comedic, but also you had in your arsenal more serious kind of dramatic stuff. Like Rat Roll, kind of, right? Or was that
Rat Roll, which I'm excited for it to come out. Of course, it's like going into film festivals, who knows? But and then like, I mean, all the stuff that I've really done on air, the 2 Lifetime movies, both very serious.
You play what, like a young doctor?
Some shit. Might as well be. In the one I play the one that I just did, a young business person. I forget.
Yeah.
But he was just, and then the other one I actually play like a senior in high school quarterback, the football team that helped solve a murder.
What's cool is, bro, you'll watch Red Dress and it's this flavor I've never seen from you before. And like, I think actors should be more opened up to doing more things, like kind of improving their range and seeing what kinds of different roles they can do. Because if the casting director only saw you in this Red Dress thing, they'd be pushing you for the Anthony Perkins type psycho, like American Psycho type shit. Because you see it, all the expression and all that stuff is right there.
I can't wait to put it on my reel.
Scary, bro. Yeah.
I'm honored, man. And honestly, I've been watching a little bit of like my cousin's TV show. And it's like young adult dramatic relationship in college type thing, but it deals with like very dark subjects, death and grief and stuff. And I look at the guy, her boyfriend, who's great, and he's a great dude in real life. And I'm like, fuck. He's able to do this like darker character that's an asshole. And he, by the way, brings a lot of comedy to it, a lot of levity. And that's why it works, is because on the page, he does these bad things, but within it, he's, fun and interesting and helpful to other people in a way. And so you got to be able to play that. But in order to get those darker roles, you have to have stuff like this. And honestly, we've talked about time and time again, I don't have a wheelhouse that I like to do more than others, really. I mean, I just want to make stuff that's good. Just want to make sure that's good, you know? So, but in order to do that, sometimes you have to force it down their throats. So it's good to have someone like you in my corner that's like, oh, dude, I haven't seen you.
Because yeah, dude, people don't see the vision until you do it. It's the whole chicken and egg thing. You have to have the product, and then they're like, oh, you can do this thing.
That's why it's kind of fun for me. I mean, it even starts with little things. Like I did my headshots in the last 6 months that I have 2 set of headshots that are like really kind of like moody and like intense visuals. And I have them on my Instagram, and like also like kind of sci-fi vibes too. And I think they really work. I got great feedback on them. And then also me doing this company, Value Mentality, is like vintage and funny, but very sort of like Vogue. I mean, that's going to show people a side of me that's not goofy either and stuff. And just interesting. I think you constantly have to reinvent yourself, but to me, it's also fun, like getting to work on different stuff and playing with audiences' perceptions and stuff. Anyway.
Totally, bro. And I also love seeing actors who are like playing one thing and then you see them in something else, they've totally flipped it. Sometimes that really works.
It's just playing with audience perceptions again.
Yes.
One way. And it's like, that's what so many people care about too. They're like, oh, this actor, they're in White Lotus. They were normally so serious before that. Sydney Sweeney, she's from Euphoria. Oh, but now she's so funny in this and smart.
Dude, it's so crazy how perception shifts like that. Like a good example I can think of is Vera Farmiga. She was known as like the sex symbol.
Back to the horror. You love your horror.
Always. But it's the transition there, bro, because she wasn't always known for that. She was known as like the ingenue type. She was in The Departed, like 06.
Yep.
She was always playing those roles. And then she started doing The Bates Motel and The Conjuring. And now everyone knows her as that.
To me, that was humbly, that came off as she faded after The Departed. And somehow, look, she's fantastic. And she's one of the most like respected people in Hollywood, I would assume. But like, she was cool in Departed. I didn't personally think that exciting at all as a therapist.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
And then after that, I think she kind of like faded out a little bit. And then I like saw her come back in The Conjuring personally. And that just revived. I don't think The Conjuring was the prettiest penny on the street at that time. And it ended up blowing away people's expectations. And huge revival.
Was compelling in that role, bro. There's the one moment where it's like the slow-mo of her screaming. Like, you know what I'm talking about? In the documentary, they showed her the whole class in the very beginning, and it like freeze frames on her, and that's in the trailer and shit. I'm way more into this than you are, but like that moment is like, as an actor, bro, she completely let go to the point of like hysteria and freaking out. And that is something that I'm seeing more and more now as a horror director. I have to look out for actors who can actually play fear in a natural, completely like letting go, not guarded at all, totally vulnerable. And that is one of the hardest things I think you can do as an actor, is put yourself in that place.
That's a good point. I'm literally thinking the same thing. Watching this show today, it's not horror, but they're so natural in these situations. They're so like really there. It seems like, you know, they're completely playing the role authentically of these moments, not inhibited in the slightest. And I'm just like, okay, it's another level. It's another level. You got to continuously keep, no matter what the circumstances are, you got to keep bringing life to that and not get caught acting. You can't act. It's got to actually be taking place in that moment and be free. And that is fun when you nail it. Even when you're doing a horror film, it's fun when you nail it. But it's, you know, you have to go deep sometimes in those areas. It's fun to go deep. But like you said, you got to take that ceiling right off and keep going freer and freer and freer. Fun.
Bro, my girlfriend, Autumn, who you know, she took 4 years of acting with me. That's where we met. And she's just recently gotten back into it. We're, especially in 31 Days of Shorts and stuff, she's been acting in a bunch of them and really getting the bug again. And the reason she gave it up in the beginning was because she would get so lost in like a character that it would like stick with her. when you go on a set and you're doing a role, does something ever stick with you? Are you ever like the Bradley Cooper who just finished American Psycho and he's still wearing his sneakers after he's wrapped?
When I did Pretty Smart in Netflix and I had the gonorrhea, yeah, I took that home with me. For about a month there, I thought I really had the disease.
Damn, bro, commitment.
Yeah, you gotta commit to them. That's fascinating here. Honestly, I don't want to like take away from that. I don't have a good enough answer. Like, that's incredible to me. So your girlfriend, who, what's her job at the moment again? I know she works in the film business.
Yeah, film business within aerospace.
Well, in a brief, what is that?
She's like she produces their films and stuff that they do for the company.
And how long has she been doing that for?
A couple years.
Finance side.
She's
Right.
not, I mean, she's still on like the film side of like being on sets and stuff and organizing and whatever, but she was directly in film industry when she worked at CAA before.
And the point is, all right, so she's seeing very creative sides of the film industry. She's running and gunning. She's at a point where like a lot of actors don't ever get to experience the real film business, you know, until they get to the 0.0001%. So a lot of people that I know as well that are kind of these like business side of the film industry, they experience storytelling and making movies much more than most actors do. That being said, so now a lot of people, you know, that they have these acting backgrounds, and you and your girlfriend went to like an intense like acting degree for 4 years. Like that's
a lot of it was bullshit, which I know you know too. Like these programs,
yes, they're not as practical as we might like them to be, and most of these people leave honestly feeling like psyched out of acting. You guys decided you didn't want to act after seeing if that's acting, whatever. And then the little that I've talked to you about acting and stuff afterwards, you're like, you've literally responded like, well, the way that you just put it, that sounds a lot more.
Love your perspective. I wish you were one of my professors, bro.
It means
like,
a lot,
that's
man.
what we need that kind of practical. Yeah.
I wish I had me too. And I don't think it's not, I don't mean to be cocky, but it's just
simple. It's like
not limited to me either. Yeah, it's just
and
obvious.
bro, the thing is too, one of the best actors that I've ever worked with, and I've worked with him so many times, bro. I don't know if you've met him, Greg Rosenberg. Have you met that guy?
Which one was he again?
Actually, he wasn't on either of the sets you were on.
Okay.
But he's been in a lot of my shorts. And dude, his day job is like something completely outside of entertainment. I think he works for like a hospital or some shit. Okay. And he's a scientist. And bro, he's one of the most natural, best, most compelling actors that I've ever worked with. And I told him, bro, never take an acting class. Like, I'm going to keep putting you in shit. Just whatever you're doing, just keep doing that thing, because he's himself, but within the circumstance of the scene. And he just clicks into it and he gets it, and he can memorize a whole page of dialogue within a couple hours. So, you know, it's like,
what does that tell you? And I don't think either some people have it and some people don't too. I think I can teach anyone to act and portray a character, portray a situation, portray a line to the best of their abilities and get into it. Now, but back to like Autumn, kind of getting the bug again, but also like recognizing that like what she didn't like about it before was that she would get too into the story, too into the character. First of all, I think that's a good problem to have. That means at least she recognizes role playing and she gets into the role. I was in acting classes with so many people that they never felt any type of, you know, they knew they had potential maybe, but they didn't have any real, like, they weren't role playing. They weren't in it. They didn't feel the world or get into the richness of the story. I saw so many actors that were just robotic and so insecure and understandably so. Like, they had these teachers that didn't tell them, they didn't inspire them to get into the story.
Yeah.
It was all miscommunication, and it became about them and personalizing things rather than getting into the imagination. There's no imagination. So when your girlfriend Autumn says like she's too into the story and stuff, and that actually comes into her real life, that's kind of badass. And think about, I always go back to this. People are like, oh, you know, it's crazy if you're playing this role that's so dark. apply it to a comedy. Kind of badass. You know, if you're Anchorman and you're Ron Burgundy, you think Will Ferrell has a problem getting out of it? Hell no. And he applies that same thing to serious stuff. And look, if you do, it's like I always tell people, nah, not a bad problem to have. But where it does get a little, I suppose, like I could see an area for nervousness is like when you see something in a character where you're like, oh, well, that person, I'm supposed to be playing this heartthrob, and they're so much cooler than I am in real life. Maybe I should just bring that on into my real life. And then you kind of go down that rabbit hole and you start acting. Not that that's even the worst thing either. Like, you know, in real life, you know, we're all acting anyway. But
the world's a stage.
Yes, all the world's a stage. One man in his life plays many parts. The child. I used to know that whole speech. The point is when you start thinking too much about like, oh, well, I can take on this thing from this character in real life, but I don't.
Interesting.
That just means I think in real life you have to just try to be the boss of your mind anyway, you know. And so if you're bringing your acting parts in your real life, it's like no, learn to like tell yourself like mental health stuff, like self-help. No, be at peace. Nothing is worth giving up your peace for. And you know, make the most out of today. Don't focus on the future. All the little stuff. I think I had to get really good at that mental practice in order to be able to be professional about acting and not let acting get to me.
Dude, you got to be in charge of your mind. And this business is so volatile and unpredictable that you have to have all your ducks in a row. You got to approach every day with like, you know, it's kind of all a balancing act. You got to figure out what works for you. Me personally, like, dude, finding something outside of, and look, 3 podcasts ago, when we were talking and I'm like so fucking intense about like, this is my life, like one track. And you're always like, Jacob, you know, got to have a balanced life and be well-rounded and do all these other things. Finally taking on something like jujitsu, which I'm getting super into, bro, is dropping into the physicality of that and having something outside that's like challenging and you know, instead of thinking all the time, you're really just like working and it's all physicality.
It forces you to confront something so that you can't sit on the side thinking. You like literally have to.
Literally, bro. There's someone right there that you have to think about how to choke out. Yeah.
Yeah. So it forces you to like not think about your passions, filmmaking for like an hour or whatever it is.
Exactly. Or if something's pissing me off that day, it's like I'm headed to jujitsu class. And then all of a sudden I have to be completely focused or else the guy's going to like take me over, you know?
That was like me working at the restaurant, actually. Like when you go to the restaurant, you have to think about the restaurant. So you don't have time to play your audition and stuff.
Dude, that's intense that you did that. And so many actors do that, bro.
I know.
Are you, I mean, how's life now compared to back when? Are you still like looking after the kids and stuff? Is that
I am. I'm actually in between jobs at the moment. That's why it's been so great. But I'm talking to a family right now about working as a personal assistant and dog watcher for them.
Nice.
Yeah. But
those jobs are going to be better. You know
what?
Those jobs are going to be better
than working in the restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah, working in the restaurants dominates your life, dude. And if it's a fun restaurant, then that's great. But I never experienced that.
And the reason why actors do it is like what would you say is the most beneficial job for a creative? If someone is really passionate about like being an actor or being a director or a writer or whatever, and they come out here to Hollywood, like everyone tells you should be a waiter, but like, what do you like? There's really not even that much flexibility there. Like you were even telling me when you were working for like finding people to pick up shifts and all that kind of shit. It's like, it's just a pain in the ass.
I don't want to work another day. You know? I mean, I guess some of them do, but no, it's a very good question, dude. We talk about it a lot. Like just in the sense that waiters, you make good money for not having like a specific vocation in it or like a college degree in it. That's pretty like an obvious thing for like actors to do as a side job. But I mean, my buddy's just telling me today, he's like, dude, go into sales for your side job, like 9 to 5, just do sales. That doesn't sound too easy either.
I mean, the 9 to 5 thing is rough. If you're like if you're chained to a desk from 9 to 5,
It'd probably be remote. Everything's remote now.
remote, I mean, it's kind of a different story. It also depends on what your remote job is. Like I hear of people who like they have to write down every 5 minutes what the task was that they did. Like that's
True.
it's insane, you know?
It's rough. Oh, wait, real quick. So how's like your week and stuff been outside of, so you've been editing probably a ton.
It's taken up my whole life. But
Yeah.
I don't know if I shared this with you. I had a conversation with my producer, Ken, and
Right.
he and I decided that we're going to fully move into features. We don't even know what that means, but we're going to figure it the fuck out, because at this point, dude, after 31 days of Halloween, I feel like that's a really clean break. And it's like, look, we've made 90 to 100 fucking shorts. It's time. We're ready for the next chapter, bro. Like, we're fucking ready. Even if it means writing scripts that we can film out of our apartment that are still scary as fuck.
Sure.
Like, we figured out the structure of shorts and we figured out how to make an effective short. But if our end game is making a feature, I feel like whatever your end game is, you have to like go as directly to that track as you can, as opposed to being like, I'm going to make this short in the hopes that maybe someone will give me a feature, which never happens nowadays, you
Right.
know? So it's like, just fucking make the product. Your first features aren't going to be that great, but like continue to do it. And then eventually you'll get really fucking good at it.
You got to do it. And obviously, like the writing book, How to Make Movies for Fun and Profit, says, write the best script you can ever conceive of. And then when you finish that, write another one.
I love that.
And then write another one.
I
And go back to the beginning. And the first one was pretty shit, wasn't it?
dude, I've written like 7 feature scripts to this point.
Yeah. No, I know.
Basically all shit. Total shit. I had to do all of those to get to this point where I'm like, okay, now I'm finally understanding structure and like how to do it. But that's the point where a lot of people give up. Like, anyone listening, I want to let them know, like, it's a fucking journey, and it's, just take it day by day and like make the best script you can. If it doesn't work out, move to the next, move to the next, move to the next. But like, everyone feels like writing your first feature script is such a hustle that when you get to that point, you're over that finish line, you're like, well, now let me make this movie. Where's the funding? Like, it doesn't work that way.
Stop. It also just doesn't stop too. Like, even when you're a studio head, it's still a hustle. It's just then you have your house in Beverly Hills. But no, the important part is to try to live, laugh, love, like enjoy.
Live, laugh, love. Yes.
Along the way. Be nice to the people around you. Even when you get screwed in the back, just like try to watch something funny on TV, keep going. And
then fuck them over in 5 years.
Yeah, you can always get them back to Mars. No, yeah. Take the high road, make the world a little better place than how it treats you. And then like in that one book, the writing book, they say do so in Hollywood. And once you make all that money, then you can go to New York City, because if you live in New York these days without money, it is much worse.
Dude, it is much worse.
It's like you have to try way harder. That movie Tick, Tick, Boom with Andrew Garfield kind of portrayed this young writer that was making musicals, and it was a true story. And it's just a bloodbath how tough it was. And then finally he finishes his first one that he put 6 years of blood, sweat, and tears into, and he gets hype and everyone's so excited, but nothing happens. And his agent's like, well,
right, another
on to the next one.
Next.
And then the next one ended up being,
I love that movie, bro. And I'm really glad you saw it, because we actually agree on one for once. Because I think as an artist, any artist who's like trying to make it is going to resonate with that film.
Totally. I didn't think it was like revolutionary either. Like that type of thing's been, like we've seen that before, but it's just, can't take away from that. It was a palpable, intense story, super thing. And the moments were just great. When Garfield is the writer, like the morning of, like he has like 12 hours before his like big opening for his play, and it's like, but first, and like his friend's in the hospital and he has to go, but it's like first he has to deal with Sunday brunch at the restaurant that he works at, and he's the manager or something, and they're understaffed. And that's exactly what we're talking about. It's like It's just not easy for anyone.
Dude, the hustle makes it worth it. If someone were to like when we first started this whole thing, like 3-5 years ago, whatever, and we were like you were given the role of your dreams. I was given the film of my dreams with all the funding in the world, millions of dollars. Bro, it wouldn't taste as sweet once we got to the top of that mountain.
Probably not. Hey, everything's a blessing and a curse.
I mean, I feel like the climb is what gives it meaning. I really do, because I think getting after it when like all the odds are against you, dude, that's like the hero's journey. We're on the hero's journey now. And the reason why it resonates with everyone and why screenwriters are like hero's journey is because we see ourselves in those stories, overcoming all these obstacles and getting after it day after day. It's really fucking hard. It's even harder than you think, but you're continuing to overcome. That's the human spirit, bro. I think that's what makes life worthwhile, you know?
No, that's true. Yeah. Speaking of which, my dad and I have been talking about the pilot Duke of the Valley that we did.
Like, yeah,
we're gonna do YouTube. We're gonna put it on YouTube.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Give it to Caitlyn Jenner to tweet out like a teaser, and then she's gonna tweet when we release the real thing like a week later. Maybe she'll go on TV, promote it. Who knows? Yeah.
Bro, unreal. Unreal.
I just watched it again this morning, thinking like, because we're literally talking about this the last 2 days, and I'm like, was it as good as I remember? Maybe it's like aged poorly, like because it's been out for like 2 years now. We've had it, and then I watched it and I was like, I'm like, dude, this is different than anything else. I think it's freaking hilarious. It's so like, it feels like there's real stuff that it's inspired by, and it was taken from real stuff, like the homeless guy and stuff. It's just so like pointed and like fun, I thought. So
is Mara in that too for like a scene?
She was in the trailer. Yeah, because we realized after the first episode maybe you'd benefit from having like a romantic
love interest.
Love interest aspect. And so yeah, she did well in the trailer.
But so, dude, that is the strategy, bro. I'm so glad you're doing that. When's it coming out? When do you think you're gonna tweet it out?
All we got to do is we'll probably talk to one person in like influencer marketing and stuff, just to make sure that we're like not missing any obvious protocols. I think we should do that before we release it. And then once we like square that away, we're going to probably just do it ourselves. I don't think there's much to it. Put on YouTube.
Hit upload. There you go.
Yeah. So I think in the next month. I mean, it'll get eyes on it. If nothing else, it'll be a Unreal calling card.
Dude, you'll at least get some eyes on it, you know? And I think especially since it's been like 2 years and it's still fresh now, now's the time.
It's true. And I mean, it's Caitlyn Jenner. I was a little worried about like, hey, are people going to take it the wrong way and stuff? But there's nothing in there that's like mean-spirited or anything. It's all pretty funny. Goofy,
hilarious. Yeah. Damn.
So that's that.
What's Valley Mentality? What's the latest?
We're in the Sherman Oaks Fair this Sunday.
Nice.
We got a whole new batch of 40 sweatshirts for it, 90 hats. And then we're doing our newest drop of clothing. We have these shirts, the Circus Slicker shirts, which I was wearing at the party.
Yeah.
And 50 of those, and 16 limited edition crew neck sweaters with like this little like BM stitched. And I'm picking those all up tomorrow. And we're gonna do a photo shoot and drop those next week. But it's a lot. I got this little box thing for the booth, the credit card box reader.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm having to learn about selling in person stuff.
Dude, what an experience.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Come down if you're around on Sunday.
I'll see if I can. The editing thing is fucking, I'm literally
Makes sense.
But dude, I'll try to stop by.
Yeah, dude. No worries. If so, that'd be fun. Have you heard about this Sherman Oaks Fair?
No.
It's just in the valley. It's like on the street in Ventura Boulevard. It goes all the way. And we're on the corner, around the corner of Ventura and Van Nuys. And we're also going to try to do like the Studio City Farmers Market going forward.
Sick.
Yeah. You know anything about that?
Clothes at a farmer's market? No.
Yeah, I mean, they do. They do like holistic, organic like clothes.
Well, dude, it's dope because it's like it stands out, you know. People are out there, they're like buying apples and shit. Then they turn around, they're like, oh fuck, valley mentality. Let's go.
So I mean, really, it's just because it's in the valley and it's like a street market, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah. How's all right, nice. So we got this freaking video coming out tomorrow morning.
It's gonna be huge. Have a good feeling about it.
What's that?
I have a good feeling about it, bro. I think it's gonna blow up.
Dude, let's fucking go. Let's make it happen.
Seeing anything good?
Been watching stuff. I've been watching Lord of the Rings series again, Game of Thrones series again. Game of Thrones is so depressing. It's just like they're constantly trying to outdo themselves for like how droll it can be, but it's fun. You?
I've been watching the real life doc on Jeffrey Dahmer, which is even more crazy and fucked up than the narrative.
Yeah. I don't doubt it. Real quick, I hear there's a documentary on movie financing. My dad watched. He said it's inspiring.
Oh, no shit.
You got to watch it.
Do you know what it's on or what it's called?
It's just like on like Roku. Like you just type it in on your smart TV. It's called wait, my dad texted it to me. Movie Money Confidential. He's like, it'll make you want to make a movie. They're like so smart in it.
Bro, I really appreciate that. Now's the time to watch that kind of shit.
I couldn't think of a better person to tell that information.
No, I appreciate that, man. It's like, bro, the thing is, the reason why I've stuck to shorts for so long, and I'm sure people will resonate with this too, is like, you can just pick up a camera and get a group of people and make the thing that you want to make and not worry about financing or asking for money or any of that kind of shit.
You did it.
Yeah, dude. But when you move into the feature space, it's like you're eating a whale, like one bite at a time. And it's just figuring out that model. And the more of it that you do, the easier it gets. And you just start, you getting the ball rolling. But stuff like that is really helpful because as filmmaker, I'm totally blind to the whole process. So it's just trying to learn.
You should shoot to, first of all, you're so qualified to make features.
Thanks.
You should try to make one indie feature.
Yeah.
That goes crazy. And then you get hired to do studio film after that.
There you go, bro. I think it's dope. I have a lot of respect for your dad and Jimmy and those guys for making that film. And just talking to Jimmy a little bit and hearing a little bit about like the process of making that thing. It takes a lot, but it's possible, man. I mean, they had a lot of hurdles in that film, but they did it.
They did. We've talked about them. They're hustlers by nature. My dad and stuff, the guy likes to gamble in life too. They're inspired. They love to do anything that's kind of fun. Make it fun. Give the financiers a ride, show them a good time, make it funny, make it an experience that they can't get anywhere else.
Right.
And my dad always says, I just talked to my dad about like life and work ethic and stuff again. And he's so right. He always says, think outside the box.
Yeah.
Standard out there. Figure out how to get there. Do what other people aren't willing to do.
100%, bro. I also think the power of intention is huge. And what I mean by that is like, if you really wrap your mind around the idea of doing something, like when your dad, I mean, you had way more visibility to this than I did, but like, I have a feeling like when your dad had this idea to make this film, he completely wrapped his mind around it and was like you're saying, think outside the box. What's every fucking avenue that you can go down to make this thing a reality? And that's the kind of fucking passion and just
True.
oomph that you need behind a project.
And you have that already. I feel like that's not as hard to come by sometimes. Like, yeah, my dad totally, whenever he does anything, he gets obsessed. He gets possessed and obsessed. And he has enough money, probably from his day job, which is working in the World Poker Tour as a commentator, that he can support himself. Like, he gets so immersed and he comes up with stuff so quick. But he also is emotional about that, and he can get very down and stuff when he's like, something's not working. But then he bounces back quick. And he truly, there are artists like that. But I think I'm actually, humbly, I think I'm a little more even keeled sometimes than they are. I'm able to take the hits better. But that's part of why they're so successful. It's because anything, dude, tennis, he's the same way. He would not pick up a tennis racket for 2 weeks when he lost in a tournament. And then he just never get out of the game if you can help it. Yeah.
Right. I think there are certain, if you love something enough and you're into something enough, like you might have those periods of just feeling down or whatever, but you're always going to come back because that thing inside of you, it just doesn't, it's more painful to just sit down and like lie on your back than, okay, let's just get after it again.
It might die. The love might die and then it comes back. Just, I think, keep on trucking. Like day by day, you don't have to have it all figured out at all times. You can fail. And the point is, live to see another day and something will come.
That's it, bro. I think also obsession is such a crucial part of this whole thing, because if the way to make an impact, like Steve Jobs, to actually make the iPhone a reality, you have to be obsessed with this thing in order to move. But that's, bro, again, that goes back to human spirit, intention, all that good shit.
It also, same thing I always come back to, be balanced too, though. Don't do it to cover up the hole. Don't cover up the hole. You have to stay at peace.
That's it.
Side,
through the whole process. 100%. It's that balancing act.
Exactly, brother.
We balance each other out well, bro.
We do. It's fun. I know. I agree.
Yeah. Good luck at the fair. I hope to see you there.
Me too, man. Thank you.
Dude, I'm sure you'll make a lot of sales,
We hope so.
Product. You're out.
And I'm excited for this short tomorrow morning coming out.
It's going to blow your mind.
Let's fucking go.
I want to hear from you, bro. You're going to love it.
I can't wait, man.
All right, bro. Until next
brother. Sounds good. Peace.
See ya.